So today we fixed the cutting on the dress because it was a little bit uneven.
And we tried to find Miss Stone to get the sewing machine, but we couldn't find her, so we're going to try and find her tomorrow.
And we will probably have the dress by tomorrow.
Right.
So today we we hemmed the dress, which we did by first pinning it, and then we used the sewing machine over here, and we sewed the ends together, and it worked really well. We didn't have a lot of issues with it. It was it's pretty even, and it looks nice. So it worked. We had a very productive day.
One thing I would suggest if you're going to do this, and it was sort of a challenge for us too because we couldn't figure it out at first, was if the sewing machine starts beeping and stops sewing, there's probably a good reason for it, and you should try and remember the steps that you're supposed to take, which are you have to thread the top thread, make sure the bottom thread is threaded properly, and then you have to put the foot down before you start sewing. Otherwise,
that was our problem. We forgot to put the foot down.
That's usually the main problem, other than the thread not being threaded properly.
We also had a bit of an issue. Well, when I was sewing it and when I was pinning it, we cut it a little bit too short, so it was kind of harder to do. But we still got it done. It wasn't really an obstacle.
Right, so, yeah.
So today I worked on the dress. I sewed it up on that side so it's like one whole dress instead of just a piece of fabric. And Jacqueline laced the bottom. And while I was sewing up the dress with the sewing machine, Jacqueline was working on the presentation, and we got a lot more done that way. So my advice for the sewing machine, if you're sewing a dress together, is to make sure you get the whole thing and keep it even, because it may get a little bit uneven and come out looking weird, or there may be huge holes in it, or whatever. That happened to me. There are like some holes, so I had to keep going over it until I got them, but it ended up working out well.
So today I put the lace on the dress, and it was kind of difficult because there were larger holes in the lace that you had to make sure not to go through, because otherwise the knot wouldn't be big enough and it would just go through the lace. So my suggestion is to pick a small enough hole and make sure that the knot that you tied at the end of the thread won't go through it before you start sewing the entire dress.